All right, here we are, UNK Chico, episode number 1, talking about content and Coach Prime, and of course, Colorado Buffaloes. Unc, I appreciate you joining me, man. We're able to do this. Thank you. How's it been getting back in Colorado?
Hey, it's going good. It's always a pleasure being in Colorado, but I got to stop you. I got to stop you. You said you appreciate me joining you. No, we're doing this together. Like we are joining together. It's you. It's me. We together.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Appreciate that clarification for
Oh
everybody
yeah.
out there.
No, the people need to know that, man. They need to know. You've been doing some great content out there. You don't mind challenging what happens in the program, but you report it in a fair and concise manner. So it's not just about some blind allegiance, being a supporter kind of thing. It's about somebody who's out there really trying to do a great job by these kids, by their parents, by the program with fair coverage, and you've been nailing that.
Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I learned from some of the best from what you guys been doing out there, covering Colorado from day one, and how you've been putting out content consistently. Matter of fact, let's start right there, as we're going to have a candid conversation, and we encourage everybody to join in. But let's start there as far as the content wise, and I can ask some questions if you don't mind about just getting
Oh, go right
started,
ahead.
even going back to Jackson State. Give us a little rundown of why you got into creating content, and how did it come about?
Oh man, it really started, believe it or not, with women's basketball at Jackson State, and from a fan perspective. I was a strong supporter of women's basketball at Jackson State. I mean, I'm talking Chico during the days when, the 5 seats this way were empty, the 5 seats that way were empty. I could lay out on my row by myself. Nobody was
Yeah.
there. And so from that, supporting the program, there was a podcast at Jackson State called Tiger Talk, which is still going on. And they had me on a couple of times to talk about women's basketball, what I was seeing. Then that eventually led to co-hosting there. And then that was also about the time we were hiring Coach Prime. And so started covering him. The pregame show was born there at Jackson State. And we were doing some things, and Coach Prime was watching us from afar. Had no idea he was watching. Had no idea, he was watching the post game shows when he got done with that spring COVID season. And he called me up one day and said, "Hey man, like what you're doing. Want to bring you inside to cover the program internally versus externally."
Hmm. Big time. And then, but it's just not an easy thing to do to just say, okay, I'm going to stop doing from whatever my background is and just jump head first into this content game. And then I would guess that you've been learning on the fly, correct?
Oh yeah, man. A lot of it is on the fly. You just learn by trial and error. One thing is my good friend Tali Carr over at HBCU Game Day has said over and over and over is that, man, people don't lie to you about what they like. If someone is spending time watching your content, engaging and commenting, sharing it, if you have regular viewers coming back, if you see regular growth, it doesn't even have to be exponential growth, but if you're seeing regular growth, people don't spend their time and spend their money on stuff that they don't like. If you see somebody spending time doing something, they like it. If you see somebody spending money on something, they like it. And so this is not one of those things where people per se spend money directly, but they spend their time watching your content. And so you kind of learn what works and what doesn't work, and you just go from there. But it has to be a labor of love, man. If you don't love it, it's not going to last.
Exactly. And that's what I think I was trying to get to. Like you have to find a way to like what you're doing and love what you're doing eventually, to where you can consistently, wake up and do it,
Oh yeah.
because it's an everyday grind. As we've talked in the past, this 365 cycle, and we're like firemen or emergency room, as you put it. We're working in the emergency room. So being able to adjust to that, and now you got a gold, a silver plaque, 100,000 subscribers over your shoulder right there, a couple 3 years later from putting in this work, man. And it's commendable, but also it shows that commitment that you have to put that in. So I just wanted to salute you on that. And as we move forward and talk about the current things that's going on, as we're recording this on Wednesdays, and I think we can start doing this on our show each Wednesday too, as we do a Wednesdays with Sapp review. As I was just able to check out this one, and you guys were in the Sprinter van, so you got to break down the whole the whole setup for me. Y'all in the Sprinter van, look like you picked them up from the airport. I'm not sure, but give us the whole setup and how that came about.
Hey man, you need to be a detective. You need to be on First 48, NYPD or something. That's exactly what it was. You know, one of the things that you try to do in content creation, particularly when you're a part of a program. I really don't care what the organization is, what it is you're covering. Doesn't have to be sports. But one of the key components, Big Dog, is just simply don't be in the way. And one of the proven ways to not be in the way is to get content when the people you're covering, you know, are kind of captive. They're not really, you know, in the midst of work or whatever that major function is. You've seen on the pregame show, there's sometimes I interview Coach Prime while he's working out, you know, because his schedule can be so busy. It's like, let me not add something to his plate. Let me just do it while he's doing something else. And so that's what this week's Wednesday with Warren was. He was getting back into town. So, hey, look, let's just do the next show from the Sprinter. You know, it's about a 30-minute ride back to the campus. You know, we typically do about a 20-minute show. No better place to do it than when we will already be together. And it just makes it easy that way. And it's authentic. You know, you just catch a real conversation. It's just like you and I are doing here. We don't have a script. You and I didn't shoot each other notes about what we're going to talk about. It's just two brothers chopping it up. Whatever comes up, comes up. And so that's what you get with Wednesdays with Warren. We just talk about whatever's happening that week, whatever's on our minds when we hit record. And so this week, you caught us in the Sprinter riding back from Denver Airport to the campus.
Hey, we competing, D-line. Who winning it? Let's go.
He also dropped some jewels in that thing, talking about how he's here to bring that attitude to the defensive line. He doesn't have any interest in being a defensive coordinator right now. He's also still learning, but he can bring at the very minimum that attitude for the defensive lineman to be the engine that runs the defense, so to speak. And you saw the way that he played. It showed that if he can have that translate into the players that he's coaching, a big Amari McNeil, Chidozie Nwankwo, and Quinn Barnes, big Tyreek Thomas coming over now, Tarion Carter, and so on. I can't forget about my boy, big Shane Coates, your boy too, Shane Coates, the philosopher. He's going to have some major guys to work with, and I think he's going to be a huge addition to that defensive line, the defense.
You know, there's this story in the Bible, Big Dog, where someone just wanted to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. Like, I know I can't be him. I know I can't do what he does. I can't hug him. I don't have his talents and abilities. But if I could just get a piece of him. And that's what you got taking place here, man. If these players just get a piece of Prime, if they just get a piece of Warren Sapp, if they get a piece of Jason Phillips, if they get a piece of all the other coaches like Phil Lodeholt and D. Ludis in the D-line room, man, what they're going to grow on the field, whether they possess those individual talents. You know, there's only one Warren Sapp. There's only one Deion Sanders. But you can learn from them and glean from them. What I love about what Coach Sapp is doing, he is happily teaching, man. There's a smile on his face. He's energetic about it. He's fired up about it. He loves breaking down concepts to them and teaching them techniques and showing them ways that you can get things accomplished, that you can work hard and smart, and you can work smart at times and not hard. But the goal is to get back there to the quarterback to stop the run. And he knows how to get these guys to focus in, as he calls it. If you see a lot, you see nothing. If you see a little, you see everything. And so he's training their eyes and training their hands. And you don't have to be, you know, what he was. You don't have to be, you know, that gifted, natural gift and work hard and get all the way to Hall of Fame level. Bring your tools to the toolbox. Do what you do best and just pick up little nuggets from him. And man, he's doing a brilliant job. All those naysayers out there, Big Dog, talking about, oh, Sapp ain't never coached nowhere before, this not gonna work. Watch him work. He is coaching, man.
Yeah, I'm not worried about those naysayers who don't know what it takes, first of all. And second of all, Sapp said he's like QB isn't his pillow. You know, you want to hit the quarterback. The first 5 to 10 plays of the game, you want to hit that quarterback. It sets that precedence. I know exactly what he's saying, you know, by doing that. It sets the precedent, let him know, hey, we're going to be here all night. And I like that mindset from him. He's going to bring something, you know, major for that defensive line that I think was missing last year on the defensive side.